Ibaka and Chris exchanging blows. And they'll have to go to the replay monitor now to see if there are possible...
Basketball is one game that has no shortage of tall men with short tempers, and these tempers come to play on the court as well. In a game dominated by bravado and testosterone, NBA players are bound to hate one another, and not in a subtle way. In today's video, we can check out some NBA players who actually hate each other. Before we talk beef, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and tap that bell icon to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of our latest uploads. Let's jump right in. LeBron James and Deshaun Stevenson. The feud between these two is one of the most prominent in NBA history. The stint began when LeBron was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers and Stevenson was shooting guard for the Washington Wizards. Stevenson was clearly behind LeBron in terms of skill on the court, but the point guard employed other means of taunting the NBA champion. He decided that regularly trash-talking LeBron on the court and even in interviews was the way to go. Stevenson provoked a response from LeBron after the Cavaliers beat the Wizards in a 4-2 series, calling him overrated while speaking to the press. LeBron responded, comparing Stevenson's comments to Soulja Boy calling out Jay-Z. Ouch. Jay-Z got in on the feud by mentioning Stevenson and in a not nice way on a diss track directed at Soulja Boy on his 2008 single Blow the Whistle. The beef took a less subtle route when LeBron's team Miami Heat lost the 2011 NBA Finals to the Mavericks, earning Stevenson a championship title first. Stevenson, being a classic man-child, celebrated the championship with a shirt that read, "Hey LeBron, how's my Dirk taste?" The feud continued for the rest of Stevenson's career until he finally retired. TJ Warner and Jimmy Butler. Warner and Butler have a rivalry that has been brewing for years and is always on display whenever they're on the same court. Butler, who plays for the Miami Heat, is known for his aggressive demeanor on the court, which comes with the position he plays. Warren, on the other hand, is more of a smack talker, always trying to put his opponent off their game. With both players playing small forwards for the respective teams, they're always in each other's face, and things sometimes get ugly on the court. Warren, who guards for the Indiana Pacers, had to be restrained by fellow teammates after a foul that had Butler in his face, with both players trash-talking each other from opposite ends of the court. The beef has even transcended the court and spilled into social media, with Butler posting, "I can guard him and he can't guard me." Their hatred for each other is entertaining as it is tiring, and most people come to the games just to watch them trash-talk each other the entire game. Russell Westbrook versus Patrick Beverley. Most beefs between NBA players stems from their competitive nature and mostly isn't personal, but this feud is definitely personal and understandably so. Houston Rockets Russell Westbrook and LA Clippers defender Patrick Beverley have had some minor brushes in the past, but none too serious, at least not until the playoffs in 2013. In the second quarter of the game, Westbrook, who was with Oklahoma City Thunder at the time, looking to call a timeout, dribbled the ball to the sidelines. Beverley, being a young scrappy defender for the Rockets, wasn't about to let the ball go. In an attempt to steal the ball, Beverley launched at Westbrook, diving in the point guard only to brush him at the knees. Westbrook, visibly in pain from the impact, continued the game, securing a win for his team. After the game, Westbrook had an MRI which confirmed that the impact had torn his meniscus and he had to undergo 3 surgeries to fix it, missing out on the rest of the season and ending his Iron Man streak of games played. Westbrook was upset about the situation, and rightfully so, but instead of tendering an apology, Beverley decided he would much rather fan the flames, so he went about saying that he simply felt he was playing hard. As expected, Westbrook held on to his grudge against Beverley, and the feud continued with brawls on the court that led to the pair having to be separated by teammates and officials on numerous occasions. This is one feud we don't see ending anytime soon. Kendrick Perkins and Zach Randolph. Memphis player Zach Randolph and former Celtics champion Kendrick Perkins are two players who aren't afraid to show the world that they don't like each other. They are frequently commenting on each other's bad plays to the press and almost always crying foul. Randolph once commented, "All Perk can do is foul me. He's too slow, he has a big body, he can foul." After Grizzlies win at the 2012 playoffs, the two continued their beef on the court, constantly trash-talking one another to the point that they both were ejected from a game from the non-stop verbal blows. The ejection did not stop the beef from ending that day, as Randolph proceeded to the Oklahoma City Thunder locker room to confront Perkins and give him a piece of his mind and possibly his fist as well. The stunt earned him a $25,000 fine by the NBA after the game, which seemed to cool things off a bit. Randolph later responded to a reporter who asked if he could whoop Perkins' ass by saying, "I'm good with these hands, man. I'm a jackin' dude. I'm pretty good with these hands." So, a clear indication that hands will be be thrown if it ever comes, don't you think? We say no to violence, but fingers crossed. Joel Embiid versus Karl Anthony Towns. The beef between these two has been on clear display for years, with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Philadelphia 76ers crossing paths all so frequently. Back in 2019, the two got in a brawl on the court mid-game that led to Towns throwing a punch at Embiid, which he missed, and both 7-foot-tall men soon landed on the hardwood floor. Teammates and officials rushed in to defuse the situation by pulling Embiid out. As he was being pulled out, Embiid seemed to have a smile on his face, and Towns, who was still being held down by teammates, was visibly scowling. As expected, they both got suspended by the NBA, but not before they took the fight to social media. Embiid, who is notorious for online trolling, threw the first punch, this time with an Instagram post that read, "I was raised around lions and a cat pulled on me tonight. LMAO at Jimmy Butler. I missed being part of the third stringers. I got his mom giving middle fingers." That's some serious real estate. Hashtag fight night. Hashtag ain't no beat. Towns responded with his own Instagram post clearly directed at Embiid saying, "I ain't no beat raised D around lads. Hashtag talk beat talk." With both players being some of the most talented players in the league, it's safe to say this feud will live on for a while. Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul. Some of the longest running rivalries in the NBA have been between the league superstars, and this feud is no different. The hatred between LA Clippers guard Rajon Rondo and the Phoenix Suns point guard Chris Paul is a perfect example. While the most recent incident between the two has been on the court, the feud goes as far back as 2008, when Paul was picked for the Olympic Redeem team, and Rondo was not. Safe to say Rondo did not take that very well, and it marked the beginning of a decades-long feud. The 2 point guards have been in each other's faces for many games, with Rondo usually instigating a confrontation. Back in 2009, Rondo threw shade at Paul, who was talking to someone else at the time, telling him, "I've got a ring and you're never gonna win one." Paul, of course, didn't take the comment very well, and both had to be separated before things got out of hand. Rondo is known for his short temper and his flair for provoking a response from opponents, and Paul, who is undoubtedly calmer, isn't about to condone being spit on, literally. The rather disturbing spitting incident was the latest in the unending feud between both men, but it didn't start off with them initially. In a game between the Houston Rockets and the LA Clippers, we saw Brandon Ingram getting fouled by James Harden on a drive to the hoop. Ingram shoves Harden, and teammates jump in to separate the pair. Only Rondo took the fight personally, allegedly spitting on Paul, which warranted a punch from the then Houston point guard, and all hell broke loose from that point on. LeBron James, who was on the opposite team, had to step in to calm Paul, who was hysterically continuously insisting that Rondo spat on him. Rondo denied spitting on Paul, but both men were ultimately suspended. Legend has it that the feud still lives on even till this day. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. These two make up one of the most infamous feuds in NBA history. Both players were dominant on the court, winning championship titles like they were grocery shopping, but off the court was a different ballgame entirely. There was animosity between the two, and they usually played it out in the press. O'Neal called Bryant selfish to the press on more than one occasion, and reportedly told Lakers management that Bryant's way of playing would keep them from winning. The feud took another turn when Bryant made a comment about O'Neal paying women he had sexual encounters with in order to keep them quiet, as he was married at the time. O'Neal denied ever paying off any woman, and even blamed his divorce on Bryant's comment, calling him a rat. The list of shots fired from both sides is so long, there's a whole Wikipedia page dedicated to the feud. Now that's legendary. As entertaining as basketball is, every spectator hopes to see at least one feud play out live on the courts, and we'll be right there to report it all. That's all for today, guys. Do well to check out some of the other videos, and we'll see you on the next one.